Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm gonna start this series of demos with the update on our UI. So I'm gonna run through all of the tabs in the UI and talk about what we see here. This is the settings page, and it's accessed by a little gear icon down in the bottom left corner. Um, at the moment, since we're only integrated to or with GS Pro using their Open API. This is where you enter the IP address of the computer running GS Pro on your home network, and that will allow you to play GS Pro with our unit. Below, there's a software version and a hardware version. You can see I'm on the latest version of both. If we had made some changes and pushed an update, um, there would be a little button here saying there's an update available. You click the update button, takes a couple seconds to download and install, update all of the files. You'll see a little refresh message, and then voila, you're on the new update, so you can get those updates really quickly. I'm running my unit using Ethernet because I'm very far away from my router in my home. I have a detached garage. So I use Ethernet that actually runs underground through some conduit to my garage. Pretty nice to have. So I don't have Wi-Fi, but if I wanted to, I could connect to my home network. You can see, here's some networks from around my neighborhood. You can enter the password, click on them, whichever one, enter the password, and then you'll be able to use Wi-Fi to connect to your unit, so you won't need a cable. And then finally, upload log. So this is what our testers use, but I imagine we'll keep this in here. At least for the first little while. Like I said, potentially forever. And this updates or sends to us um, logging statements that we've put into our code to help us debug issues when we experience issues or testers or users experience issues. So that's a quick little overview of the settings menu. The second menu we've got here is this is the alignment menu. So when you put the unit down, rather than painstakingly kind of move the unit around to confirm that it's aligned to your target line, what I do is I'll just grab a little helping tool here and a couple golf balls, and I'll show you how it works. One sec. So I don't know if we're going to include this with the unit. Maybe we will. This is pretty handy. Maybe it won't be this long, but I use this little guy here. And what I do is I set up a laser line. I down my target line. I place the launch monitor down. I place this on the ground and I align the white stripe in the middle to my laser line. And there's little spots here to place golf balls. And when I do that, you'll see, let's see, hopefully it works. Haven't done this in a long time. So I have two golf balls, so I'm a little bit out. So you move them so that they're both in the hitting area. And let's say that's my target line. So I'm moving the piece back and forth, and you'll see that the horizontal launch angle is changing, and that ball fell off. So I'm going to leave it there for a second. So basically what this is telling me is that my target line, I don't have a laser line out, I've just placed it down, and my unit are 1.4, 1.5 degrees out of alignment. I could press save, and this would basically tell the software when it's calculating all of the information that the golf ball's HLA equals 0 is not 0. It's 1.4, 1.5 degrees off, and this affects some spin calculations, and then of course affects the direction of the ball. We want to make sure we correct for this. So this is a really easy way of doing it. It's visual, you can see it. And one thing I want to point out is that you can see this calibration ready thing. We just patched this in actually this morning just for some debugging purposes. That template that I showed you is 3D printed out of PLA. For people who 3D print, that might mean something. To the rest of you, basically it's a plastic that doesn't shrink much at all when it's printed. It was designed to be 30 centimeters exactly separation. What we're seeing is like 29.9 to 30, maybe a hair over 30 centimeters. So we're seeing sub millimeter accuracy over 30 centimeters. So that is really cool to see, and really should hopefully give you a lot of confidence that the data, especially like a ball speed, we're able to get some really accurate results. So that's really cool to see. I like this feature. I think we should honestly leave it in. It's a nice little check for us and for future users to, confirm that everything's working well. The next tab is going to be the profile tab. So I've got my profile here, BVDB89. If I ever play a simulator golf tour event again, that's me. You'll see me on there, hopefully high up on the leaderboard. But the amount that I'm playing these days and the way that I'm playing, I highly doubt that. So you're going to want to select your handedness and which system you use. So although Canada is very, or supposed to be very metric, we are neighbors to the United States, and very similar to the UK, we kind of use the imperial and metric system interchangeably, but we do play golf in yards, so I use imperial. You can switch your profile if you've got our kind of default test profile here. Don't use that. So I'm going to go back. You can add a new user, and it's going to look, oops, excuse me. Sorry, once you add a new user, it'll actually kick you right to the main page that will allow you to start hitting balls. So that's what you saw there. You can go to your bag, and this is actually, I believe, I would assume Mike's clubs. He built this and put it in. So you can add clubs, and you can add more than 14 clubs if you kind of are one of those people that changes your bag more often than some. And you can come back and choose the 14 you're using right now. You can add some details, got a tailor-made M6 14-degree 3-wood here, and an Odyssey white hot putter. Maybe you change 3-woods, or maybe you go to a 4-wood. You can add that 4-wood, choose the clubs that you're using, and the point of this is that in the future, we're going to have club mapping, wedge matrices, and we'll start to collect data based on the club, and we can start doing some data analysis on your clubs. You can really see how far you hit them, what your dispersion looks like, and start doing the swing optimization or data optimization for your launch conditions. So there's lots of cool things we can do with that, but this is kind of like just the very beginning of that. It's in here. It doesn't do anything right this second, but yeah, it's there. Next, we're going to go to the GS Pro Connect tab. We are only integrated with GS Pro at this point, but at some point, I want to see a drop-down menu that shows E6 and Awesome Golf, and anyone out there who wants to work with us, please reach out. We're happy and excited to integrate with your software. Even if we've never heard of you before, please reach out. Any people working on new stuff, up and coming, reach out. We're new guys on the block. We're nobodies. So let's do it together. Let's, get involved, and we'll figure out a way to make our stuff work with your stuff, and hopefully vice versa. And we want to have a lot of options. Anyways, for now, GS Pro. The first step is boot GS Pro and the OpenAPI connector. You press connect. That window should update, and you should see a green bar appear. And then we added a ping feature, so you can go into the data tab and clear it, hit ping, and you should see information pop up proving that it is connected. So pretty simple process, and it's pretty stable at this point. I think we've worked through all the bugs at this point and no issues, but I guess the next step with GS Pro will be to officially integrate. So GS Pro, if you're watching this, we're getting really close. We're hoping to sell units by the end of the year. We're probably getting to that point, so we'll be talking soon. Then we move on to the history tab. So I just very quickly, you'll see in rapid succession, hit about a dozen shots. I can scroll down, you can see more, but Didn't warm up, just started hitting shots, and I'm getting old and slow, and I got pains all over, and my game is very, what's the word I want to say? Let's just say I haven't practiced at all or played much at all, so the golfer you may have seen in some old videos is gone for now, but hopefully he comes back for a visit. Pretty inconsistent, and I'll show you what the ball flights look like soon, but I just wanted to touch on this page. So this is really sweet. So to give you a timestamp, we don't really need this. A shot number would be fine, but this is helpful for us while we're working on the unit. We've got all the data here. We've got all the impact data, the ball flight data, and now we've got some club data. And we're not going to talk too much about club data here. I'll get into it in another video, probably the next one. But you'll see ball speed's pretty consistent. One thing that I find really interesting here is ball speed's generally speaking increasing, in the last 9-10 shots, which makes a lot of sense to me because I didn't warm up, and my ball speed really tends to increase once I get freed up and amped up a little bit. My first shot to my final shot, usually I'll see an extra 15 yards from fairly cold to really starting to feel it. So that's kind of cool to see. It's a nice little pattern. My impact locations all look pretty good. This one's a little out, but I did physically feel that toe, but all within about half a centimeter off the face, maybe 1 centimeter, but generally consistent. Club path generally consistent, and angle of attack generally consistent. So that all looks great, and I'm really, really happy with club data so far. If you've watched my videos, most people that know me in real life think I'm a little bit, we'll call it realistic. Don't want to say pessimistic, but I tend to be optimistic with this. Oh yeah, we'll be there in 4 weeks. 3 months later, we finally got there. Or yeah, this will be easy. Not that this one was easy, but the idea that I had in my head really it didn't really change, and it worked very much the way I intended, and I'm really happy with it, and we're going to talk a lot about it and show it off. And I honestly, a year ago was very unsure if club data was going to be realistic for us, and I'm super pumped to see it in here. And then one really cool thing, and I love this, you can change all of these columns. You can, if you don't want ball speed, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't want it, you can get rid of it. And if you want to see, I don't know, maybe you just want, let's just move it up here. Yeah, I want to see smash factor. Smash factor is what I want to see for some reason. You can move all of these around and start to tailor this to exactly what you want. And we will add a feature in the future to export this data, and you'll have all of this at your hands to, if you're like me, throw it in Excel and do a bunch of really cool stuff with it. So this is the history tab, and then we'll get to the, the number one spot that you're going to be staring at. So this is the, one sec here. Of course, I moved it out of user and lost all my ball flights. So we're going to have to hit a couple shots, I guess. Let's do that. So we're going to move from standby to find ball. You'll see that there's 2 balls in the hitting area, and while 2 balls are detected, although 1 is in the hitting area, it's not going to arm. So I guess I'll go kick the one that's over on the left here out of the way. I'll hit 2 or 3 shots, and then we'll talk about this screen a little bit. Oh, if I can find my club. Here we go. So, got my little strip here out of the way. Place her down. There we go. Arms very quickly. That was toey pulled. Oh, and look, all my things came back. But let's talk about the shot a little bit while we're here. Path 0.6. Yeah, definitely felt almost over the top. and I called that 1.7 centimeter toe. It was very toey, and you'll see like that ball barely moved. So yeah, checks out. We'll hit one more here, since I didn't realize all of those would come back after I hit a shot. That's cool to know. See, we learn something every day, even on something that you spent probably 4,000 hours working on. Toey again, but probably straighter. A little bit straighter. Not really. Definitely hit a little bit harder. Okay, one more. Man, that arm's quick. Don't even see the interface come up. I'll maybe bring that up intentionally. I'm going to try to hit a cut or hit one right at least. Hit more to the center. Hit a little bit heavy. Oh, I think it's going to cut. Yes! Okay, perfect. Oh, and 0.0. So that was hit dead in the center of the face. Went pretty far. And yeah, that all checks out. That's really cool. All right. Well, glad that went well. Put a ball down. Ball's outside the area. Not going to work. Hit it too far back. Not going to work. But I'm going to show you something really cool here. I don't know if this will work. Right this second. If I come out of fine ball and I turn club data off, and sorry, let me go back in. I want you to look at the size of the hitting area. This is with club data on. I'll turn club data off. And last time I did this, I ran into a small issue, but let's see what happens. Oh, I got to move the ball so you can see it. Anyways, I'll hit the, actually I'll show you something else. When we hit a shot, when you bump the ball, you don't want the unit to register. So I'm going to pull the ball out of the hitting area, and hopefully we get no shot, and then I'll put the ball in the wrong area so I can show you how big that hitting area just became. So I'm going to knock it forward just a bit as if it fell off a tee, and do it again. And again. Oh, my hand's in the way. So I'm moving it probably 3 or 4 inches, and you can see the ball's moving forward every time, but it's not registering. So we implemented, and this actually goes back to 2x4 and duct tape version 0. I found a way, by accident actually, to speed up the process quite a bit. And one of the side effects was actually it eliminated ghost shots. So you just kind of saw a quick demo of that there, but as you can see here, the user interface, the hitting area, which was about maybe ending here-ish, has now gotten about 2.5 times wider without club data, because all of that room that we had saved for club data, well, if you don't want it, you can have a massive hitting area because you have all that real estate available to you. And it doesn't change how you use the unit. You just have more room, more real estate, and yeah. So I'm gonna pull it out a fine ball here and talk about this user interface a little bit. So on the left we have all of the launch conditions. So ball speed, HLA, VLA, spin rate, and spin axis. On the right we have these numbers. They would be at sea level. I'm not at sea level, so they look a little bit weird to me. That seems like a very short 8-iron in my world, because we are at about 3,600 feet. Also, the flight model that we've used for this is based on it's not based on a lot of data. It can be fine-tuned a lot, so take it with a grain of salt. It's close enough, and it's going to be consistent. Your shots will be grouped accordingly, but just don't look at these and be like, oh, the unit's reading wrong. No, look at these 5 on the left. Those are the numbers we're actually calculating and obtaining using the unit. These 5 numbers on the right, and we actually also calculate apex distance, so that would be the distance, the top of the arc, but are not showing it here. Those are algorithmic, and they're going to change from launch monitor to launch monitor. And I will be the first to say ours needs improvement, but um, with more data, I've seen it work. This was just something we patched in. On the bottom is now the start of club data. So club speed, angle of attack, path, smash factor, and impact location. And that's impact location horizontal on the face relative to the sweet spot. These are obtained using a single reflective marker placed center of the club face, but up a little bit. Yeah, here, I'll just show you like this. So that's how this is working right now. I would love to expand it, and you can see here already that we have face to path, Y, dynamic loft, spin loft, and low point as examples of data that we could get basically by modifying what we're doing right now, but using three symmetrical markers or a dot and like a bar. In theory, we can get a lot more information, and we're going to give it a crack at some point. So, yeah, stay tuned for that, but that's not going to be our priority right now. The data we're collecting right now, we're more than happy with to move ahead and get more test units out and sell it at this state. Updates to come, hopefully. And then, yeah, the final thing to talk about is, yeah, we have these two windows showing the trajectory of the ball. This is top down, so you start here and, ball moves right, ball moves left. One really, really interesting thing about this. One, wow, I am hitting it all over the map. Two, the dispersion angle. If you were to draw a circle around these, you'd get kind of an ellipse doing one of these, where it's further back on the top and further forward on the bottom. This is precisely what you see in real golf. Draws and pulls tend to fly further, pushes and cuts tend to fly shorter, and you get this kind of dispersion. So much to the this is so well known and common that probably the most famous or one of the most famous par threes in golf was designed specifically to penalize right-handed players because of this. And anyone can tell me what hole that is. Let me know. I'm curious what people say, but it's not very long, and it has crushed people's dreams in professional golf. So, yeah. And then what we see here is, this is the trajectory from the side. So you're actually seeing, the descent angle and the actual shape of the ball flight. And this is traveling just like a golf ball does. I spin it a lot, so I do have actually a little bit of a rising ball flight, a little bit of ballooning happening, and a very steep descent angle. And generally speaking, similar. For sure similar, but like I said, I'm hitting it so inconsistently right now. This actually doesn't look too bad for me at the moment. Hopefully in the next few months I'll be able to hit more balls and this will improve, but that's what I'm working with right now. I think that's the gist of it. If you're unaware of this application, it is a browser app that can work on pretty much all devices: iPhones, Android phones, tablets, iPads, if you want to get nitpicky, Apple computers, PC computers. I even want to do a test, and there's no reason why it wouldn't work. I think this would be really cool. Pretty sure if you had a smart TV in your hitting bay, it would work. How you'd control it, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not that familiar with using the smart TV browsers, but the universal use of a browser app really is key to what we're trying to do. We want to make sure as many people as possible can use the product, and we want to make sure it's usable with as many products, sim software options out there. So that's my really quick and rushed and dirty update on the UI. I hope you enjoyed that. Please reach out with questions, and I will say to everyone that has reached out, we have got a lot of emails and a lot of comments since the most recent dev video went out. I'm seeing them, I'm reading them. I'm so busy, I tend to not, respond to comment at a time. I'll pick a day in a week or every 2 weeks to kind of really take care of all of those. So I promise I'm seeing them. I promise I'll get back to as many of you as possible. It just might not be day of or right away, but you should hear from me if you reach out. And again, appreciate all the support. Stay tuned. There's gonna be more to come, and we're cruising ahead. We're both pushing really hard to hit our goal of units sold this year. So fingers crossed. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in a couple days with probably a club data update where we go in more depth. Thanks, everyone.